is Carmen, and I'm going to be talking about something called the SIP theory. SIP is short for Social Information Processing, and this was started out by someone named Joseph Walther. He wanted to answer the question of, can people really form a meaningful and deep connection through a platform, as in a screen? Technology, because we live in a day where it's consistently evolving. And he wanted to see, if these relationships that we're finding online are truthful, are real. And, to start with his explanation, we first look at just the process of getting to know another person. The chart starts out with social information. Whatever you have, whoever you are, that is then imprinted or, given to another person, and that is called impression formation. From there, when both are mingling, both giving their information, that then turns into relationship development. And so really, they said, oh, this can happen online as well. But some oppose this theory and say no, because a lot of cues get filtered out, and this would be, the lack of nonverbal communication. They said that, because we don't have that, gaining and forming impressions will be muffled. So what Walther does is he acknowledges that yes, online communication can be impersonal and cold, but so can face-to-face. Two features he points out of online communication is that verbal cues can actively be compensated by nonverbal cues, and that online communication simply needs more time. And so if it's true that, one can be able to convey warmth through a screen, then what is the problem? And again, that's where SIP comes in to take over the crucial variable of time. SIP is explained, through a liquid analogy, and one can imagine it as a drink, basically. When you're communicating with someone face to face, imagine that as just, one can, and you drink it all at once and in a faster pace, rather than when you're distant with someone or just, communicating through a screen. You can't really receive information all at once and quickly. So that's, where SIP comes in. You don't necessarily gulp the information, but you sip it little by little. It's still proven to work, and is just a matter of time. So really, what he proven to say is that method of communication made no difference in the emotional tones perceived. He did do some form of test and, got a bunch of naive participants and some trained to communicate face-to-face and online. And that's what his findings were of this test, that the naive participants could tell no difference between the emotional tones perceived, whether it be online or face-to-face. And with that, the only problem is, some people still question, can these messages be trusted even though they're manipulated? So it's more of a trust or not to trust scenario. And, the impressions, because the impressions can be controlled, they can be suspected. But with that said, my critique of this theory is, I guess it's a 50-50, if that makes sense. Because again, like I said before, we are in a time where technology is consistently evolving, consistently changing. And it's more common to say, oh yes, I met this friend, or I met my partner through online. And with that, I believe it's best to, be truthful and responsive with these words and with this communication. And actually really value the time you have when you're face to face with this person. I myself am in a long distance relationship right now, and sometimes the only thing we have is text. I wish we could say letters, but no. And sometimes it gets frustrating because of our lack of communication, or just we use the wrong words sometimes. And I'm sure that's not just in a long distance relationship, but for mothers that are sending their kids to school, or troops that are across seas, you name it. This platform of online communication it's gonna be here until the end of our days. So coming up with these theories, or just finding ways to organize it, I feel will really be beneficial to society and how we value our thoughts. Thank you.